The following video shows what happens when an idiot has a camera. Viewer discretion is advised. J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson were not involved in the making of this video. Any anger or dissatisfaction felt is purely coincidental.
Today I thought I'd make a video about whether or not Star Wars is for kids. I guess a lot of people think it's for kids, probably because we don't see any of the billions of people who died on Alderaan when it was blown up, or because of how cute the Ewoks are, even though they're cannibals, and we do see some of them die in Return of the Jedi. But anyways, today I'm going to give you my thoughts on the subject of whether this movie or these trilogies are meant for children. So straight from the beginning of the first film, or episode 4, we see Darth Vader strangle a man to death. And the subject of strangling people to death continues throughout the movies. And that's one example of something that perhaps isn't for children. Sometimes Darth Vader doesn't go through with it and only strangles somebody until he's had enough and then just lets him live. Of course, also from the first movie, we see Han Solo shoot a guy, and doesn't seem to be too bothered by it either. So cold-blooded murder, another example. Severed limbs, we see lots of severed arms or severed hands, and even Luke's replacement hand, I have to say, is a little bit freaky in my humble opinion. But yeah, the theme continues throughout, and sometimes we'll see some severed heads. Sometimes those severed heads, the severing of those heads takes place in front of their children. Or the severing of people in half, which is also not good for children. Anakin's mom is a slave, and we see her death at the hands of her masters. I don't exactly know what she dies from, what kind of abuse she dies from, but we can see certain scars on her face. And of course this leads Anakin to pretty much go out and slaughter all of them, which he does again shortly thereafter to a bunch of children. Children armed with lightsabers, one could argue, but nevertheless, our hero, or the protagonist of the first 6 films, goes out and kills a bunch of children. And then, after killing those children, he himself gets burnt. And then we see his scarred body in great detail. We also get to see people eaten alive, especially in Return of the Jedi. And I think those are very good examples of why this franchise is not meant for children. And I think it's ridiculous to say that it is. I think the main argument of why it's meant for children is that there's no sex in it. I mean, nobody can dispute the violence in it, but there's no sex in it. So let us discuss that part of whether or not it's for children. The closest we get to sex in Star Wars is, of course, Princess Leia in Jabba's palace. We see her in the infamous bikini, and this is really the closest we get to sex in Star Wars. But I think it's close enough that it can be regarded as sexual. And there's no question that after she appeared in this bikini, this particular costume became something that people wear for adult activities, or some people wear for adult activities. So we can certainly say that aspect of being an adult franchise is covered by this specific costume. In the movie where we see the costume, we also get to see Princess Leia strangle Jabba in a very horrific way, while looking really hot, really. But yeah, she strangles Jabba, and that is definitely an adult theme. And then let's make seeing as we're on the subject of Jabba, and let's make an honorable mention for this guy, who is freaky in his own regard. You know, look at this guy. He's just, this is definitely not a character out of a children's film. I don't especially consider Force Awakens or the new Disney trilogy to be part of canon. I think we could have lived without the Disney trilogy, but just a couple of examples from those films as well. I mean, there's obviously Kylo Ren or Ben Solo killing his own father in a horrific way with a lightsaber through the heart. And another honorable mention is the scene where the stormtroopers, where a stormtrooper firing squad kills a bunch of villagers in cold blood. You know, anytime where you have mass executions, you can't say that that's a children's film. So, guys, those are just some of the examples that I thought of. I don't think this list is exhaustive in any way, and the films are probably full of other examples, but these are just some of the ones I wanted to highlight. And I definitely don't think that this is a children's franchise. I think this is a franchise for young adults at the very least. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
No idiots were harmed during the making of this video.